In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys 4 reasons why the 56mm 1.2 is a must-have for your Fujifilm wedding photography or portrait photography. What's up guys, Reggie B Photo here and welcome back to the channel. So for those of you who are new, my name is Reggie Ballesteros and I'm a wedding photographer based in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I wanted to get things started and say that the 56mm 1.2 has a ton of reviews out there on the internet and on YouTube. It's a popular lens and it is for good reason. So today I'm going to skip all the technical stuff and just share with you guys 4 reasons why it is a must-have for my wedding photography and portrait photography. Reason number 1 is shallow depth of field. Alright, don't get me wrong, there are more things that are involved in a good photo than shallow depth of field. You have to have good light, you have to have an interesting composition, you have to be lucky enough to catch that good moment, and you have to include all the different elements that tell a compelling and interesting story. But if you're looking for that full frame shallow depth of field effect on the Fujifilm system with autofocus, the 56mm 1.2 is the closest that you're gonna get. It has a large 1.2 aperture and let me tell you, it really delivers. Unlike some other 1.2, 1.4, or 1.8 full frame lenses, you don't have to stop down to get some very sharp wide open images. And while it's not my favorite Fujifilm lens for either wedding photography, portrait photography, or just in general, I will not deny that this lens pays the bills. It gives you that shallow depth of field compressed look that is professional to non-photographer paying clients. It's great for headshots, candids, close-up documentary work, and of course it's really good for engagement portraiture and wedding portraiture. So the second reason why it is a must-have is because of its low light ability. Again, because it has that large 1.2 aperture, it's really great for soaking up all the available light in a room or a dark space. And if you think about it, on full frame, sometimes those 1.4 or 1.8 apertures have to be stopped down to somewhere around f2 in order to get usable sharpness and low light capabilities. But in this case, a APS-C crop sensor has an advantage because you can shoot at 1.2 and still get the effective depth of field and sharpness of a 1.8 lens on full frame. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Something to think about, right? And before I get you super excited on this lens, I did want to bring you guys down a little bit and set some realistic expectations about the autofocus of this lens. So in good light for stationary subjects, it's very reliable and confident in locking in and getting sharp images. However, when things start moving, even in good light, the continuous autofocus leaves a little bit to be wanted. So that's not to say that it's going to stop you from getting the shots that you need, but you will need to do a little pre-planning and shooting with intent in order to get those shots, and it'll overshoot a little bit to make sure you get those keepers that you need to deliver. So on the flip side, when it gets into that low light type of photography situation, this is where the autofocus struggles a little bit. Even in the single point autofocus, it is going to hunt a little bit more than the other Fujifilm lenses. And to add a little bit more factors into the mix, when it's a moving subject and low light, this is where it really does kind of struggle, especially what I've noticed is for the first dance of a wedding or the bride processing down the aisle in a dark church. You're really going to have to dial in your autofocus settings, focus on your tracking technique, and overshoot so that you have a lot of images to kind of review and pick the best one, ensuring that you have at least one keeper for that really decisive moment in your wedding photography or portrait work. Again, the key here is to pre-plan and to overshoot. But again, if low light autofocus is really your biggest concern, I'd probably try exploring the Fujifilm 50mm f2, as the autofocus is a lot more reliable and faster on that lens. Alright, so to continue on, my third reason for why the 56mm 1.2 is a must-have specifically for wedding photography is because it makes for a great makeshift macro lens for ring photography when combined with the 16mm Fujifilm extension tube. So you don't have to use the Fujifilm extension tube specifically, as there are some other brands that offer it, but I personally use the Fujifilm version just because I want to make sure that I'm getting the best autofocus and the best build quality available for my wedding photography needs. But in general, when combined with a couple of continuous LED panels or with flash, this impromptu setup really performs and does everything you need in order to take interesting and high quality ring shots for your wedding photography. And the last reason why I think it is a must-have for wedding photography and portrait photography is because it is probably my favorite and I think the best Fujifilm lens to execute the brenizer method or the bokeh panorama shot. So as opposed to landscape photography where you stitch together a lot of shots in order to get a very deep scene and a wide scene, the brenizer method shot or a bokeh panorama is a little different in the sense that you're stitching together photos in order to create a very shallow depth of field and compressed look, but still emulate that wide angle field of view. And what this results is kind of that cinematic, kind of film anamorphic, wide aspect ratio type of shot that you really couldn't achieve using a single lens on the Fujifilm system. If you want a tutorial on how to specifically do the brenizer method, aka the bokeh panorama, let me know down in the comments below. So that kind of wraps up my 4 reasons for why the 56mm 1.2 is a must-have for wedding and portrait photographers. If you have any other reasons why it's one of your favorite lenses for the type of photography, let me know down in the comments below. So I know what you're thinking. You want to treat yourself to this lens. I say go ahead and treat yourself. I've got links down in the description below to purchase this lens at no additional cost to you, but it will help support the channel for me to keep creating content for you guys. And please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as I make a new Fujifilm or photography video every other week. And if that's too long for you, be sure to follow me on Instagram at ReggieBPhoto, as I'm dropping new tips and workflow kind of techniques and stuff on my Instagram. Alright, that's it for me. Remember to get out, go shoot, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.